Welcome back to more Sip2Tally. I'm your host, Coach Evans, and today on the more Sip2Tally Power Rankings, we're going to take a look at our number 18 team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's right, Duval. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the number 18 team on the more Sip2Tally Power Rankings. Let's dive right into it. Starting with the quarterback room, the latest member of the Get Paid Club, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is the leader of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Just got a massive contract, so he's going to be there for a long time. It's up to him to lead the Jacksonville Jaguars to the promised land if they're ever going to get there. Let's take a look at some of his stats from the 2023 season. Played in 16 games, 370 out of 556. I had a completion percentage of 65.6, threw for 4,016 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Had a passer rating of 88.5, a QBR of 56.1. Also in that room, they brought in Mac Jones, who was the starter in New England last year. He was a starter, got pulled. Was a starter, got pulled. And we talked about that when we had the New England episode, how they kept pulling him for Bailey Zappi. He's the backup now. He played in 11 games. He was 224 for 375. He threw for 2,120 yards, 10 TDs, 12 interceptions, had a 77 quarterback rating and a 36.7 QBR. And then rounding out that quarterback room is CJ Beathard, who only showed up in 7 games last year, 40 for 53, 349 yards and 1 touchdown. That's the quarterback room, and I have that quarterback room ranked 14th, the 14th best quarterback room in the NFL. Let's move on over to the running back room. Now in their running back room, I have it ranked as the 23rd best running back room. Now they do have a special guy in that running back room, and that's Travis Etienne. Etienne's a special guy, but we're ranking the whole room and not just Etienne by himself. Etienne played in 17 games last year, all 17 games. Ran for over 1,000 yards, had 267 carries, 1,008 yards, 11 touchdowns. Also had 58 catches for 478 yards and 1 touchdown. That's 8.2 yards per catch, catching the ball at the backfield. And that's really, really good. And if you don't remember, Urban Meyer, his first year, tried to switch Etienne to a slot receiver. And Etienne kind of lost his whole rookie campaign. He got hurt. But when he first got there, Urban Meyer tried to switch Etienne to a slot receiver. And you can kind of see his receiving prowess right there with the 58 catches so far. Also in that room, Tank Bigsby coming off his rookie campaign from Auburn University, Auburn University. He had 50 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then they also got Dearness Johnson in that backfield already. 41 attempts, 108 yards, and 0 touchdowns last year. So I have their running back room as number 23, and that's no knock on Travis Etienne, but that's the room as a whole. Etienne is a guy. He, had over 1,000 yards rushing, almost 500 yards receiving. That's just under 1,500 yards total. So Etienne's a guy, but those other 2 guys haven't shown to be worthy to rise this room up to being higher than what I have them ranked at. Let's take a look at their wide receivers. Now they lost a guy in their wide receiver room when they let, what's my man name? Guess I just have to look it up, Kevin. Now their wide receiver room I have ranked 30th. They lost a guy when they let Calvin Ridley get out of the building, and they replaced him kind of, sort of, but not really, because Calvin Ridley is one of the potential top 15, I ain't gonna say top 10, but top 15, top 20 wide receivers in the NFL. And with so much young talent coming in, you let that guy get out the building, it's kind of tough to replace him with a rookie, and we'll talk about the rookie they brought in so far. But let's talk about what they do have still there. They do have Christian Kirk. 57 catches, 787 yards. Okay, that's okay. He's their deep threat, kind of do everything guy. That's 13.8 yards per catch and 3 touchdowns. Also in that room, Parker Washington didn't put up a lot of numbers. 18 catches, 132 yards. Tim Jones in that room, 11 catches, 83 yards. Jamal Agnew, who's kind of the kick return guy, 14 catches, 225 yards. They also brought in some free agents. They brought in Gabe Davis from the Bills, who's probably going to be, I don't know if he's going to be the number 2 or the number 3, but he had 45 catches for 746 yards. Brought in Devin Duvernay for the Ravens, who had 4 catches for 18 yards. But the guy that's probably going to take off and eventually be the number 1 is Brian Thomas. That's the rookie they drafted from LSU. 6'4", 4.3 speed. He's probably eventually going to take over that number 1 role at some point during the season, because you got a bunch of 2s in this room. And yeah, Christian Kirk's a 2 also. You got a bunch of 2s in this room. They need an alpha, and they just have it. They don't have it. I got this wide receiver room ranked as 30th. Even though Christian Kirk's in this room and they brought in Gabe Davis, they don't have a guy. And you're depending on a rookie to come in and probably be that guy. But they do have a guy at tight end, though. So let's slide on over to the tight end room. I have their tight end room ranked 5th, and it's on the strength of Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram last year, 114 catches, 953 yards, 4 touchdowns. A tight end at 114 catches. Evan Ingram's a big wide receiver. That's what he is. He be in line a little bit, but for the most part, he flexed out in motion, doing wide receiver stuff. He just got tight end beside his name. But Evan he's their number 1, really. Evan Ingram's their number 1 receiver. Again, 114 catches. Also in that room, Luke Farrell had 13 catches, 155 yards, and Brendan Strange had 5 catches for 35 yards. But Evan Ingram is a guy, and he has their tight end room. He's the reason their tight end room is so high, because he can go get it. And I have their tight end room ranked number 5, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. Let me check my numbers. Yes, 5. All right. I have their O-line ranked 25th. Now, they brought in 2 guys, Morris at center and Ezra Cleveland. Ezra Cleveland was one of the few guards left in free agency, and they ended up getting him. Last year, he graded out right under 60. And so their O-line is a work in progress. They got the bones to work with Robinson, Sheriff, and Harrison. They got pieces. It's I don't want to say it's good. I don't want to say it's bad. Their line is kind of indifferent. It's kind of different. They got Ezra's probably gonna come in and probably be their best lineman, if not for Robinson. It's one of those 2 guys. But you bring a guy off the street that's older, they're probably gonna be your best lineman. And going forward, this is probably where they need to spend most of their draft capital or prioritize their free agents, their O-line, because they got some skill guys. They paid their quarterback. They got a solid on the dark side, which we're gonna get to in a little bit. But their O-line is iffy. It's iffy. But I got them ranked the 25th best O-line in the NFL going forward. And so let's kind of get over to the dark side. Let's start with the defensive line edge group. They're transitioning. They're not transitioning to a 3-4. They've been a 3-4. It's just they do so much different stuff. It kind of looks that way. But this is what they have now in their new 3-4 look. They got some new players in there. They up front. We're gonna start with the 3 guys in the middle. The 0 and the 2 4 eyes, or the 2s, or however they want to play it. They got Arik Armstead from the 49ers. Been a solid player for a long time. Last year he had 5 sacks, 29 total tackles, 4 TFLs. They got Roy Robertson Harrison, who they had last year. He had 3.5 sacks and 34 tackles. Devon Hamilton, who was also there last year, he had no sacks, 12 tackles, so he'll be a new starter. But adding Armstead to that room, and the production you got from Josh Allen last year. Josh Allen had 18 sacks. 18. And you got your number 1 pick from a couple years ago that's starting to come into his own, Trayvon Walker. He had 10 sacks last year. But let's talk about Josh Allen sacks. I don't want to gloss over that, too fast. 18 sacks, 66 tackles, 17 TFLs, 33 QB hits. Then on the other side of that, Trayvon Walker, 10 sacks, 52 tackles, 10 TFLs, 19 QB hits. So like I said, they building something on defense that's going to be a force to be reckoned with here. Up front, Armstead, Walker, and Allen, that's going to be tough to deal with. Now you go look at their linebackers. The linebackers not bad either. Well, up front, that defensive line edge group, I got them at number 20. Now, let me explain why it's number 20. Armstead's up there in age, and look, his production, he only had 5 sacks. So he's going to be a solid leader. Armstead's 30. He's going to be a solid leader. I don't know if his production going to match what it used to be in 49ers. But Allen and Walker, they really good. Now, their production, their number could be higher. It depends on what Robinson, Harris, and Hamilton's going to give us. Robinson and Harris, the same person. Robinson, Harris, and Hamilton's going to give them. Now, if they were dogs, their number would be higher, but I got to factor in what they give. I can't just put it all on Allen, Walker, and Armstead. And mainly Allen and Walker, because they the studs. But moving back to that linebacker group. The linebacker group I really, really like, and I got them ranked 7. Foye, Aluakon, and Devin Lloyd, animals. Aluakon's a tackling machine. Like, all over the field, run you down. Wherever you at, Foye's coming. He played 17 games last year, had 1 interception, 4 touchdowns, 6 passes defended, 2.5 sacks, 173 tackles, 8 TFLs, 10 QB hits. Not to be outdone by Devin Lloyd, played in 15 games, 2 less games than Fourier, 127 tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 QB hit, and 7 passes defended for Devin Lloyd. That's some amazing linebacker play. I got them ranked 7th. Those 2 guys right there can get after it. And Chad Mumba is lurking. Chad Mumba's lurking. He's a 3rd linebacker. He's lurking. Going to the secondary. They lost the guy that led, Demarion Williams, who led the league in passes defended. But they come back with, they got Tyson Campbell, who's probably going to be a number 1. Played in 11 games last year, had 60 tackles, 5 PBUs, 1 interception. They also added Ronald Darby from Baltimore, who was really a slot corner for Baltimore. He's probably going to start on the outside for those guys. Played 16 games last year, had 7 passes defended, 28 tackles, 1 TFL. And the guy that I think is going to be that slot corner, it's going to be a rookie. Jaron Jones from Florida State. That's who I think is going to be that second corner. I have that cornerback room ranked 13th. It's not a bad cornerback room. Because I think about like how successful Darby was and how much I like Jaron Jones. Tyson Campbell's not bad. 13 ranked cornerback room. Slide on over to the safeties. Safety room, I have it ranked 17th. In said safety room, Andre Cisco played in 15 games, had 4 interceptions, 5 PBUs, half a sack, 62 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 QB hit. They're bringing in Darnell Savage from Green Bay. Only played 10 games last year, had 1 PBU, 51 tackles, and 1 QB hit. So they also got Hamilton, who kind of played that role a little bit, but I think Darnell Savage is going to, and Hamilton had 2 interceptions, but I think Savage is going to be the guy that starts, so that's why I got him up there. But the star safety is Cisco. Cisco's a stat sheet stuffer, and I have their safety room ranked 17th. Now, correction. Yesterday I told you that the Raiders number was 17.11111. That was wrong. The Raiders number was 17.44444. The Jaguars number is 17.11111. So my eye level was messed up, old age. But these are all the numbers for the Jaguars, and I already told you what the end number is, but I'm going to give you the run through and give you the number for the Jaguars. So a quarterback, they were 14, running back 23, wide receiver 30, tight end 5, O-line 25, defensive line edge 20, linebacker 7, cornerback 13, safety 17. And then when I add them all together, divide them, it was 17.11111. And that come out to be the 18th ranked team on the more Sip2Tally power rankings. So let's talk about their draft picks and see where they fit into this year's team. So we already mentioned Brian Thomas. He's probably going to start. Mason Smith for defensive tackle is going to be tough to get in there in that rotation, but I can see it happening, especially with those 2 defensive guys we talked about not necessarily being the studs. And you normally rotate defensive tackles in, so he'll probably play. He came from LSU also. Jaron Jones, who I think is going to be in that rotation and probably started that nickel. Javon Foster, O-line from Missouri, who definitely could probably get in that right tackle spot and start, or if not, get in the rotation. Jordan Jefferson, another defensive tackle from LSU. So they got 2 defensive tackles from LSU. Dontre Prince, a cornerback from Mississippi, Ole Miss that is, not Mississippi State. Keelan Robinson, a running back from Texas, who, depending on what they decide to do at the running back, because they got to do everything running back, then they got the hammer. It depends on what they want to do with that 3rd guy. He may get an opportunity to be that 3rd guy, but it's going to be tough. Cam Little, a kicker, who knows what they want to do with that. Then Miles Cole, outside linebacker, it's going to be tough to break what they got with Trayvon and what's my guy? Not Devin Lloyd. Got all the sacks. Josh Allen, because they got the same name. I keep getting mixed up. It's going to be tough to break that mold with Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker. So Miles Cole may just be a special teams guy. So those are the draft picks. Jacksonville Jaguars, team number 18. I appreciate you guys for coming out. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and let me know if you think I have the Jaguars too high, too low, or they're right in the same spot, man. And I thank you again for coming out, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.